a while since we've done a video, so I wanted to give everyone an update on what's going on. As many of you saw from our Instagram post a couple weeks back, we've decided to get rid of our Winnebago RV. It just isn't big enough for us. We've loved this thing. The diesel has been fantastic. Being able to pull into a parking spot has been great. But we find that when we get to the destination, it just doesn't give us enough room inside for all of us with the kids. We thought we could get by and go with a smaller model, as this one is 24-footer, but when it comes down to it, we decided we just need to get into a bigger travel trailer.
So this is our life. 4 kids, 2 cats, a widowed father under our roof, and a dog named Booker. How do we make it through? The sunny days. This is life through our eyes.
So we looked high and low at different setups. Do we go with a larger one, larger Class C? Do we go with a Class A? Ultimately, the travel trailer was the right decision. We've had a couple of them before. So I started looking around at tow vehicles. We need a lot of space. We got 4 kids, father-in-law, the dog, and you can't fit all of them in a pickup truck. Otherwise, we probably would go with a pickup. Probably something like an F350 with a diesel, just max it out so we could tow whatever the heck we want. Our life doesn't allot for that right now, and that's okay. So we've always been in these SUVs that can seat 6 to 7 people. We had a Volkswagen Atlas just prior to this, and I started looking at the biggest ones out there. Biggest payload, biggest towing capacity, most towing capacity. And it really came down to, okay, let's just find the single biggest SUV that's on the market, which narrows it down to basically a couple of them. You got your Chevrolet Suburban, and you've got your Ford Expedition Max. Those two really were what it came down to. And towing capacity wise, the Ford Expedition with the heavy-duty towing package on it, which gives you some extra stuff like the 373 gears, and it's got this trailer backup function on the dash, which helps you beef your radiator. Some other cool features that this has: it's got the hill descent control for going down big hills. It regulates the vehicle just getting out of control. Another thing that I really enjoy about this is you can lock the rear differential. It's got some off-road controls on it in the sense of being able to do some, selecting between your drive modes, which most have, but being able to lock that differential is just a big deal when you're going out off-road a little bit more. But really, it was also about people capacity and what we could fit. This one has 3 seats across the back. You can actually get the bench seat in the middle. We chose to go with the captain's chairs, which are really nice, and they're actually heated in the second row, so whoever's sitting back there is really going to like that. When it came down to it, the Ford Expedition actually had quite a bit more towing capacity than the Chevrolet Suburban. And I grew up as a Ford kid. My family had Fords. They really were a Ford family. I kind of steered away from that, really had been in the European cars for quite a few years, hence the reason we had a Volkswagen. Love those cars. So I have absolutely no problem with the Fords. This one actually has standard, the 3.5 liter EcoBoost turbocharged engine in it. I think that's what they all have. and it's fantastic. I have to say, we weren't sure that we would love a big, huge, massive SUV. Forget about the gas mileage for a second, especially when you're towing a travel trailer and, compare it to the Winnebago. You're not thinking about gas mileage when you're driving an RV around the country. One thing that Melissa and I realized after we got into this is it doesn't feel as big as we thought it would. We were both reluctant to get one of these because we kept saying, you're going to have to drive it. And the other one's like, no, I don't want to drive it. You drive it. All these years, we kind of steered away from it because neither one of us wanted to drive this big, massive SUV. So we ended up getting, Atlas was decent size, but it can only tow 5,000 pounds. After we started driving this thing, we realized it's just really agile, super nimble, and this one in particular is quick. When you kick this one down, it actually does 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds, which is incredible for a big, huge 6,500 pound SUV. The ride's incredible. The sound in here is incredible. It's really quiet. Nice ride. Super comfortable seats in the front. All the bells and whistles. It's going to be a big adjustment for us because now we're going to have to actually drop the trailer in a campground or an RV site before we go explore the area. That's okay. We like having this vehicle to drive around, but it won't be like the Winnebago where we could literally pull into a parking spot in Vail when we rolled into the downtown area, and it fits. Yeah, it's, creeps into the edge of the lines and people get a little annoyed when you do that, but the point is you actually could if you wanted to. So, in the end, we went with the Ford Expedition Max. And this one, again, with the heavy-duty towing package, we can push upwards of 9,300 pounds. We're not doing that. We're not maxing it out. The travel trailer that we're after will be well under that range because we don't want to pull something that is way too massive and be unhappy with it. And we'll give you the trailer rundown later. I just wanted to show you the Ford Expedition, what we decided to go with. If any of you saw the post, it'll allude to the fact that we're looking at the Keystone line of RV travel trailers, specifically the Bullet. And I think the model on the one that we're after is the 287 QBS. It's got quad bunks in the back. We'll have a front bedroom for us, and we'll have a little extra sleeping space in there to take anyone else along, and get a little bit more breathing room with the dog in there. It gets a little cramped in that 24-foot Winnebago with all of us. One thing, though, that I had to really keep in mind was the Winnebago is designed to be completely off the grid. It had that Onan 3,600 watt generator. It came with a couple solar panels installed. It had the inverter, the solar panel charge controller. None of the travel trailers come that way, and I think they assume that most people are going to be bringing them into the RV parks and campgrounds and plugging them in, which I think is absurd. Now, maybe we're not the norm, but we love being off the grid. We love going to those Harvest Host locations. We love rolling into a winery or even just a parking lot and knowing that we've got all the power in the world, that the solar panels are actually trickle charging the batteries, which in turn is powering the fridge for numerous days while we're off the grid. I don't know why they don't build these travel trailers with more of these functions and features already in them. However, what the dealerships have told me is that so many people want to customize their solar panel setup or their off-the-grid setup that manufacturers decide not to install this stuff, and a lot of them come with solar/inverter prep packages, which this one does. And that gives us the option to basically choose what we want, but there's some pre-wiring that's already in there. So I've already gone through the process of ordering the solar panels and the generator and all the wiring, and that'll be a whole separate video here as I install all of that on the travel trailer. But back to the Ford Expedition. This just fantastic vehicle overall, just for even everyday city driving, let alone being our actual tow vehicle that we can haul all these people with, and our dog in the very back. The Expedition Max gives you an extra foot, so Booker will have a little bit extra space in the back there because that's really where it's gained. Yes, I know we're in the honeymoon stage of ownership with this vehicle, but so far this has been probably the single best vehicle that we've ever owned. Power, ride quality, comfort, options. It's just incredible. We went with the Limited and not with the Platinum or the King Ranch. I wasn't sure that I really wanted to spend $100,000 to $110,000 on the SUV itself. Those things are crazy. Now, had I gone that route, I could have got the back massaging seats. Instead, we've got some other, kind of upper end options that came with it. All kinds of power options. It's got the heated and cooled seats, which will be really nice. Tons of power outlet options in it. And like I said, some of the trailer hauling functions as well. So, join us as we move on to our next chapter in our RV adventures. And I think we're really going to like this vehicle. The travel trailer will be really nice too for the extra space. It's just going to be a little bit of a beast rolling in and out of some of these cities. And I know so many of you already do it, and we've had a couple of them before. It's just going to be a pretty drastic change going from that 24-foot Winnebago where you could just roll into anywhere. But we'll make do. Life's an adventure. Let's explore.